Julian Assange was dramatically arrested today after spending almost 7 years holed up inside the Ecuadorian embassy in London. The WikiLeaks founder, 47, was seized by police after Ecuador abruptly withdrew asylum from him. He was arrested for failing to surrender to the court and was taken in custody to a central London police station this morning. Extraordinary footage showed a bearded Assange ranting and struggling as he was carried out of the embassy by police officers. Mark Smith, a black cab driver, said, "I saw them scuffle someone into the police van and drive off. There were 2 vans, one with police. It was a little bit of a scuffle. He was struggling. I think he felt a bit weak. He was surrounded by police," they said. Assange took refuge in the embassy in 2012 to escape extradition to Sweden, where he was wanted for questioning annual misconduct allegations. A police van outside the embassy on Thursday. He has been living inside the embassy for almost 7 years in the belief that he would be extradited to the United States for questioning for publishing thousands of classified military and diplomatic cables through WikiLeaks. Though allegations of rape against him were eventually dropped, there was still an active warrant for his arrest in Britain for failing to comply with bail terms. His attorney Jennifer Robinson said the WikiLeaks founder had been arrested on an extradition request from the United States as well as on charges of breaching his bail conditions. Julian Assange has been detained by Met Police and removed from the Ecuadorian embassy, www.ruptly.tv. In a tweet, Ms. Robinson said Assange has been arrested not just for breach of bail conditions but also in relation to a U.S. extradition request. However, Junior Foreign Minister Alan Duncan said Assange would not be extradited if there was a possibility of him facing the death penalty in the U.S. "It is our broad policy in all circumstances, so it equally applies to Julian Assange, that he will not be extradited if he is going to face the death penalty. So that will apply to him," Duncan told Sky News. Home Secretary Sajid Javid tweeted, "Nearly 7 years after entering the Ecuadorian embassy, I can confirm Julian Assange is now in police custody and rightly facing justice in the UK. I would like to thank Ecuador for its cooperation and at Meet Police UK for its professionalism. No one is above the law." WikiLeaks tweeted, "Urgent, Ecuador has illegally terminated Assange political asylum in violation of international law." He was arrested by the British police inside the Ecuadorian embassy minutes ago. Arrested, Julian Assange had been living inside the embassy of Ecuador for nearly 7 years, AFP/Getty Images. The group later wrote, "This man is a son, a father, a brother. He has won dozens of journalism awards. He's been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize every year since 2010. Powerful actors, including CIA, are engaged in a sophisticated effort to dehumanize, delegitimize and imprison him." Ecuador's President Lenin Moreno said the action was taken after repeated violations to international conventions. He said on Twitter, "In a sovereign decision, Ecuador withdrew the asylum status to Julian Assange after his repeated violations to international conventions and daily life protocols." Ecuador President reacts to Assange arrest. Scotland Yard issued a statement this morning, saying, "Julian Assange, 47, has today been arrested by officers from the Metropolitan Police Service at the Embassy of Ecuador, Hans Crescent, SW1. On a warrant issued by Westminster Magistrates Court on June 29, 2012, for failing to surrender to the court." Scotland Yard is thought to have spent more than £15 million in providing a 24-hour security watch at the embassy since Assange took refuge there. The dramatic development came after growing tensions between Assange and Ecuador in recent weeks. Ecuador recently reminded Assange that he could not stay in the London embassy forever. The country's Foreign Minister José Valencia said a permanent stay would not be good for Mr. Assange's state of mind, his health. Assange's supporters reported increased police activity at the embassy last weekend. 2 armed officers went into the building on Saturday, while people taking part in a vigil said teams of plainclothes officers were outside the embassy throughout Saturday and Sunday. Kyle Ferrin, 22, carrying a board with the message "Free Julian Assange," arrived at the embassy shortly after news broke of the WikiLeaks founder's arrest. A truck carrying a poster relating to WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange is driven away from the Ecuadorian embassy. Reuters, he said Ecuador's decision to revoke Mr. Assange's asylum was inhumane. He added, "I'm very, very concerned because this is a dangerous precedent." Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt said following the arrest, "What we have shown today is that nobody is above the law. Julian Assange is no hero. He is hidden from the truth for years and years, and it's right that his future should be decided in the British judicial system." He added, "What has happened today is the result of years of careful diplomacy by the Foreign Office." U.S. whistleblower Edward Snowden spoke out in defense of Assange following his arrest and said Thursday's action would end up in the history books. He tweeted, "Images of Ecuador